Acer saccharinum is the silver maple. This is a very fast-growing, large tree. It's native to the eastern part of the United States. Although it is very drought tolerant, it's very heat tolerant. This tree was sold in, I guess maybe you'd say the 1950s or so, 50s and 60s, in a lot of nursery catalogs as the fast-growing shade tree, have a shade tree in 5 years, that sort of thing. So it's very commonly planted. You can see it in a lot of neighborhoods that were built in the the 1960s, 70s, and probably not much older than that because it's not really a very long-lived tree. It grows really fast, reaches a large size, and then it has just really weak wood, weak branches. Sometimes it falls apart in ice storms. So there are some negatives to this plant that would be a deterrent from planting it in your general landscape use. The form is a broad, oval-shaped canopy. Like I said, rapid growth rate. It does best in the sun. It will take a little bit of shade. The leaves are an opposite leaf arrangement, and these sort of generally 5 lobes, very deeply cut lobes, very soft leaf, very flexible. So you have this sort of medium green, these lobes with pretty heavily toothed, with the sinuses cut deep into the leaf. The underside of the leaf is kind of a silvery color, not a pure silver, but kind of silvery green. The stem is kind of a green to greenish brown with white lenticels on it. You can see the opposite leaf arrangement on these buds here. The bark is kind of a light silvery gray in these maturing to these strips that eventually flake off with age, but it's kind of a cut strips in the silvery gray color. You can see even in this plant it looks like there's a lot of surface rooting, and this plant does. Its roots right along the surface of the ground. It's very competitive with grasses and anything planted underneath. Very shallow root system and weak softwood. The flowers are kind of just a little reddish, greenish brown, kind of inconspicuous in the springtime. And then the seeds are the double samara that we have seen on the rest of the maples. It's very adaptable, it's very tough, it's very tolerant of most conditions, so it's in no real serious pest. It's just some of the habits of the tree, of the having the weak wood and the surface rooting, kind of greedy roots, and the fact that it's just not super long-lived. You may see one that's 40 to 50 years old, but out of a population that would be kind of rare. So it's just some of those drawbacks for use of this plant in the general landscape.